So let's go over the little bit of news we know today. Of course, they did not activate Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Not too big of a surprise, given he hadn't really practiced much.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah, that wasn't a surprise.
yeah, yeah. So, in terms of the inactives, Preston Smith is active. Kevin King is not. So they get one of the two guys back they didn't have last week. Uh, One somewhat surprising inactive is Jalen Smith, the inside
Yeah,
linebacker.
that was well. I wasn't expecting Kevin King either for him to
Yeah,
be active, but I guess it was a chance.
right.
But Jaden Smith, if he's healthy, that's a healthy scratch. But I think if you look on the right side of your screen, Preston Smith playing has to be a kind of a morale booster for the defense.
Yeah, they
I
need
mean,
him. Yep, no question.
absolutely.
I don't know who they need more, though, King or Preston Smith, because,
That's a good
with
point.
DeAndre Hopkins is active. So they've got their top four wide receivers. And I think that might be why Jalen Smith is inactive. I think they're going to play a lot of zone combo stuff that he isn't necessarily in tune with because he's only been here a couple of weeks. I think they're going to try to confuse Kyler Murray with some of the zone stuff and you know, just they got to kind of play it safe, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. I think for the most part, I'm not. I have no reservation about the new coordinator who probably in his mind think he should have got the job, Jerry Gray. He's going to be talking directly to Campbell. And he kind of understands his voices and what's going on. Because there's time you hear one voice, all of a sudden you hear a different one. It's different. I just hope a guy like Jalen Smith, who's been here a couple weeks, hasn't pulled a hamstring or something of that choice. But you still got Merciless as well. So they'll have people. But I think for the most part, um, it's going to be bend don't break, but for the most part, I think that's okay, and I'm okay. I think this goes against what maybe people think. I'm okay with Kyler Murray running every now and then. I don't know a quarterback yet who run more than they thrown the ball and beat you. I mean, if he's going to pick up a first down or two, fine. You want to keep him in the pocket, but if he escapes, and picks up 8 or 9, I'm okay with that because, like I said, you gave up 95 to Taylor Heineke, and you still were able to beat them. I mean, some lucky things happen. I'm just saying the problem is this guy's a great pocket passer, close to 75%. So he has a lot of weapons, but sometimes not about the weapons, it's who you actually throw it to. So they got when you can have so many guys, Tom, it can get confusing to them. So who do you go to? AJ Green, Hopkins, Zach Ertz, Christian Kirk. They got all these guys, but you can only throw it to one of them. So that's a good thing about the defense. All they got to do is rally to the ball and try to get some turnovers.
I think one of the strategies, the more I think about it, is I wouldn't be surprised if they're in nickel and dime the entire game. So maybe they only play with one middle linebacker the entire game. They go with Devondre Campbell in the middle, and they use some combination of three, outside linebackers or six DBs or five DBs, all kinds of different combinations. But maybe they figure they'll just play Devondre Campbell in the middle. So we'll see. I am really interested to see how they match up with those wide receivers.
I think they'll probably start out with Stokes on DeAndre Hopkins and see how that goes. If that's an issue, they can always put him on Green, but he's the top corner. So they'll probably let him go because he's been following Terry McLaurin. I mean, he's been following all the top receivers that they've been playing for the last few weeks. Jamar Chase, he followed him around for a while. So, I mean, he can play left and right. But again, it's up to the safeties, really. The safeties going to have to be paramount in this game because play action, they like to throw it deep a lot, okay? They look for opportunities like that. If the safeties are playing at a good clip, I mean, they may even go to a three safety, with Black be in the box, or it may have, 26 in the box. But it just makes them good against the run against Connor and Chase Edmonds because they can run the football too. But I think the good thing about it, if everybody on the same page, they'll see 91 out there, and that'll give them just that confidence that they need to try to keep it a close game.
All right, let's flip it to the other side and defense. And you already talked about Murray and how tough that's going to be to handle him. But I also they have a power running game. You know, they have
Yeah,
John Connor, who
yep.
they can pound at you if
And
you
Edmonds, yeah.
play dime too much, if you have too many corners in there. I'm curious what their how do they come out? Do they come out and test right away, throw the ball like crazy, or do they actually try to establish some run?
I think they're going to look at the weaknesses of defense and try to get in the red zone and throw the football. I mean, they're pretty. The Packers are pretty decent against the run. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I know they got the eye test sometimes don't fit the numbers. The numbers say they're like a top 5, top 6 defense overall. But the eye test is they've been playing some quarterbacks that's not been all that great. Although Joe Burrow is going to be an up and comer. But the last 2 quarterbacks, the Jared Goffs and the Taylor Heinicke, they're not going to scare anybody. This is an MVP candidate that I think that, if you think about this culture, we talking about COVID with not having your Barry. They didn't have their head coach last week because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they're on cruise control at this point. And they're going to get Chandler Jones back. J.J. Watt's not playing. He's going to be done for the year, allegedly, with a shoulder injury. He had a lot of damage in that. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to come about who are on the field and the matchups. If they can just motion guys out and try to create matchups, the Packers defense just got to make sure they don't miss any tackles, don't give up any explosion plays. That's over 25 yards. If you take them 13, 14 play drives, I know Aaron Rodgers on the sideline. You can handle that. What you can't handle is the demoralizing 80-yard bombs, the 75-yard bombs, the 40-yard runs. That's what's more demoralizing. But if they're earning it down, and can muddy this thing up and make it into the 20s, the Packers got a chance.
I said I was going to switch sides of the ball, but I guess I had Kyler Murray on my brain so much that I had to ask another question about it.
Yeah, it's okay.
On the other side, what's the strategy here against what is pretty good Cardinals defense, pretty good front seven? I mean, we're talking about even without Chandler Jones, who's been out with COVID. They got Marcus Golden, who's an outstanding pass rusher. They're just tough up front. How do you attack that?
I think the best thing about our front, I remember back in the 1996, we had one of the best front fours, especially we were number 1 against the pass. And the team that frustrated us, a team that had a lot of screens and draws. Every time Reggie White was up the field, they just dump it to a back. I remember they just dumping it to like Warwick Dunn. Matter of fact, if you look at that Monday night game, Alvin Kamara had 10 catches. I mean, whatever you can do to slow a rush down, the screens and draws to make them think, because they're going to run these stunts. And that's been giving the Packers problems for the last 4 or 5 weeks. Both guards are giving up sacks right up the middle. So they'll bring Chandler Jones all the way around to the middle. Jordan Hicks, 58. He's going to crowd the line of scrimmage, Tom. But to me, this just what I think, it has to be the Aaron Jones show. You remember against Kansas City when Devontae didn't play? He had 7 catches, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns. They couldn't cover him. And it seemed like he created other matchups. But the guy's going to have the best opportunity in my mind is going to be Economics St. Brown. He's going to be one-on-one, Tom, by himself. And if he can run past the guy, he's going to get a great opportunity. They're not going to double him. If Taylor's out there, 86, they're not going to double these guys. Winfrey, they're not going to double these. These guys may be running wide open, but they're not going to let Randall Cobb catch 15 balls in the slot. They're just not going to do that.
No, and this is probably a game where Amari Rodgers has to show up, has to be a big part. There's probably going to be a lot of, like you said, screens, a lot of misdirection, anything they can to try to slow these guys down. And he's got to be a part of that. I also, Juwan Winfrey was one of my favorite guys in camp because his get off at the line of scrimmage was as good as I've seen, but he wasn't reliable enough. And tonight is a test. Can you be reliable? And I think that's going to be fascinating to see. Same with Equinemius St. Brown.
Yes. And that was Carl's question. Thanks for the question, Carl. We just talked about that. I would love to see a screen that's fake one way to Aaron Jones and throw the screen the opposite way to AJ Dillon. They
Mm-hmm.
also have another screen. They're faking to both backs. The line split, and Robert Tonyan is the delays right over the middle. He's going to be wide open.
Yeah.
Aggressive defenses. Trust me, I played on one. We hated screens and draws. It just frustrated us because we want to get after the quarterback and force you into the kind of funnel the ball where we want you to throw it, and that's to the check down, not down the field. But if you have to think about who has the ball on these jet sweeps, and all the offenses need is one step wrong way and somebody's by you. So that can be something that can be really put together. But you'll see Matt LaFleur's true offense when certain guys aren't in the game. Because you'll see that Devontae obviously is not playing, but if Aaron Jones go out, you may see something with bringing in Kyler, 32 and 28, and they're like, wait a minute, we haven't seen this before, this combination. So give them something to think about, and I think that's a good thing about this particular offense.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a game where you pull every stop out, use every guy you got, and if you get blown out, or if it's a blowout by the second half, you start pulling guys. Bring in Jordan Love, and you think about next week. But yeah, they're going to have to figure out some way to spread Devontae Adams' numbers around the offense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I remember that time Aaron threw it to like 9 different guys, and that was great.
yeah,
But on Aaron Rodgers for 1 second, Tom, these are the games the legacy games that when you're in the barbershop, right? 20 years from now, it's gonna be everybody talking about, well, you remember this game? And some guy's gonna say, you know what? I remember that game. Aaron Rodgers, who went to Arizona and beat them. He didn't have his number one left tackle, he didn't have his number one receiver, and he beat them. And people are gonna stop talking to him like, I remember that game. They'll remember this game so much more than the one you lost to Tom Brady, although it was bigger when you lost to Tom Brady because at home. But this one's when no one is giving you a chance. If you can pull this out, this cements his legacy of all that stuff, not winning big games on the road and have to have all these weapons and things of that nature. So I think he's looking forward to the challenge. And I think you'll see a lot of no huddle so he can get a good groove. And they may run it like, a lot of teams run it 6, 7 times in a row just to get a feel of what the defense is doing. I went back and looked at some tape when Van Joseph was in Denver, how aggressive he was against these type of offenses. He's going to walk. You may see at times 8 or 9 guys lined up on the line of scrimmage like they all coming. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. They'll come out. That's up for Lucas Patrick to use the hard count. And it's going to be loud, but you got gestures and get the play in quick enough so Aaron can use the hard count.
yeah, and it's pretty certain that there will be a pretty good amount of Packers fans here. I know.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge following in Arizona. Huge.
Yeah, and it just looking around, there is a pretty decent contingent. I don't know what that's going to mean for the noise
Look
factor.
at you using big words.
Yeah. Well, that's my job. And I just think that I don't know how that's going to work in terms of noise. Are they going to counteract, each other, and it'll just be doubly loud or what? So that'll be interesting for
another thing
watch.
that slows the rush down, Tom, and we've been doing this for I seem like 10 years. The silent count. Aaron will just walk up and lift his foot, and Patrick will snap it when he wants to, and everybody moves. That frustrates. You can't really get a jump on the ball because you listen for a cadence, you don't hear one. You mix it up a little, keep them guessing. And if you get a free play, St. Brown, let's go downtown. They got a call. If a free play, they hear that call, go downtown, we'll throw it so he can get a free play.
Yep. Okay. Well, I think that just about wraps it up. You want thank anybody before we head out?
I appreciate that, Tom. Of course, I want to thank pickandsave.com and all the metro markets in the state of Wisconsin for carrying my elite game day brats. I hope everybody picked them up for game day. And of course, Elite Vodka, the #1 vodka in Wisconsin. Let me tell it. We have won a lot of awards and we give a lot back to the community. And thank you so much for supporting that. And again, thank you so much to everybody, all the fans and everything you support me and Tom every week. Really love it. I think we're back to regular schedule next week. Hopefully we can get a big win. And again, thank you to Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shields of Milwaukee for supporting Butler versus bullying. And I think that's one of the biggest things. So, and thank you for going to my Facebook page at Leap36.
Yeah, and if you have never been there before, please try my live blog. I'll be starting in about 20 minits. And
Can you
goes,
at least answer my question, please?
No, you're not a subscriber.
I don't have the money.
Maybe you give me another bottle of Elite vodka and I'll give you a subscription. But you could get there on packersnews.com. Just go to the front page and you'll see live blog, and it's a lot of fun. It's a chance to
definitely
ask questions and hear from me, and yeah. So, and I get away from LeRoy, so I can be my own man.
Well, you be safe coming home.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time.